everyone, it's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Frequently Asked Fridays. If you're brand new to my YouTube channel, I have numerous videos talking all about making money while working from home by primarily selling on the eBay platform. But this video series, this Frequently Asked Friday video series, is solely dedicated to answering all of your questions and filling these videos with as much information as possible. But in addition to being able to hang out with you guys and answer all of your questions directly, my other favorite part of this video series is my partnership with Wholesale Ninjas. And that's because every single episode, Wholesale Ninjas gives away a 100 count liquidation lot to one of my viewers that asks a question to be featured each episode. If you don't know who Wholesale Ninjas is, they are my favorite company to source merchandise with for my eBay store. And I could not have picked a better company to partner with for this video series because they are dedicated to helping online sellers like you and me make more money while working from home by giving us the opportunity to source wholesale quality merchandise for a liquidation price. I've been buying liquidation for years now, and Wholesale Ninjas has been the only place that I have found where I can sell just about everything that I get in a lot. Everything is always in new condition. There's hardly any breakage. There's not a ton of stickers to remove off of stuff, which means I can get the items listed online faster. You can just tell whenever you open up a box from Wholesale Ninjas that they take a lot of pride and care into the merchandise that they're shipping to the resellers that buy from them. That's why they've been a primary supplier for the majority of the merchandise I've sold online for the last 2 years. Because in my opinion, they're the best. So if you want a chance to win a free 100 count lot from Wholesale Ninjas, let me tell you what you need to do in order to enter to win. All you have to do is ask me a question. Just go down into the comment section, ask me a question. Just make sure to start it with 5 question marks because that is what is going to indicate entry into the giveaway. And this is episode number 25. That means we've already had 24 winners of free inventory. So let's go ahead and get started with the questions that came in from the last episode so we can find out at the end who our 25th winner is. Dawn Sharp asks, "Hi Lindey." Hi Dawn. "Love your advice. I have seen growth already in my eBay store following your advice, especially that eBay loves active sellers." You know, every time I say that, I get very loud. I get very excited. And it's because I believe in it so strongly. That's the #1 way to combat slow sales, is to be as active as possible because eBay loves active sellers. One question: when you go on a trip or vacation, do you put your store on vacation mode, and does that hurt your sales while you are gone? So I actually have an entire video talking about how I go on vacation and if I use the vacation mode or not. I'll make sure to link that video. Anything I talk about in these videos, I always link down in the video description so that you can have easy access to finding more information about whatever topic I might be talking about. But I usually do not put vacation mode on because in my experience, it really does hinder sales, not only while you're on vacation, but when you come back and take vacation mode off. It's almost like your store has a really hard time waking up from vacation mode, and it takes a lot of activity and a lot of aggressive action to try to get your store back to where it was. So rather than put my store on vacation mode, I will just extend my handling time so that I don't suffer anything like late shipments or dings to my seller account. And then if I happen to get sales, at the end of the day, I will just message those buyers directly and just tell them that I am out of town, and I'll give them the date of when I'll ship their package out. And if they have a problem with having to wait a little bit longer, then I'll just tell them that I will upgrade them to priority shipping free of charge, or I can just cancel and refund their money. But usually if someone is not very happy about having to wait a few extra days to get their package, if the upgrading them to priority shipping for free doesn't smooth things over a little bit, then I'll just cancel it and refund their money. But if you extend your handling time, then the estimated delivery date should reflect when you'll be able to ship the package. So as long as the buyers are paying attention to that estimated delivery date, they shouldn't have any problem with you waiting to ship when you get back. Phyllis Smith asks, "Hi Lindey." Hi Phyllis. "Which platform's better to list HBA, eBay or Mercari and Poshmark? I want to sell more of the HBA." So I personally have the most success with selling HBA merchandise on eBay, and that is because eBay is just you could list whatever you want. There's no restriction when it comes to things like over-the-counter medicines, things with expiration dates, supplements. There's no restriction on eBay. You can list all of it you want. Mercari and Poshmark do very well with HBA merchandise. However, there are a lot of restrictions as to what kind of HBA you can sell. For instance, Mercari doesn't allow you to list anything that's over the counter or really anything with an expiration date. And as far as I can tell, Poshmark just really wants you to stick with things like skin creams and cosmetics. So if we're talking about HBA as an overall general category to sell in, I would say eBay is the best place unless you're being really strategic with what kind of HBA. If you're wanting to stick with just skin creams and cosmetics, then Mercari and Poshmark also do very well. And so in that case, I would say cross-post to all of them because why not? Patty Clemens asks, do you need a resell license to purchase from liquidators or just a tax ID number? So it depends on the liquidator that you are sourcing with. For instance, there might be a liquidation company that requires you to have a resell certificate on file with them, and then there are some that don't require anything like that at all. For instance, that's another reason why I really like Wholesale Ninjas, is there's no barrier to entry. You could just be the average person wanting to get started with selling merchandise online. You don't need a tax ID, you don't need a reseller certificate. You could just go on the site and buy from Wholesale Ninjas versus other liquidation companies out there that do have a barrier to entry where you do need some sort of a tax ID number. You need to fill out a reseller certificate, scan it into them, and wait for approval to buy from them. However, once you go through the headache of getting a reseller certificate, once you get it on file with a company that you're sourcing with, then it's on file. You only have to do it once, but you do need to get a tax ID number in order to even get that far. So depending on whatever company you're wanting to source with, you may or may not need a tax ID number. You just need to find out from them. And they won't be afraid to tell you because when you try to buy, they'll ask for it. Carlene Claycamp asks, hello, Lindey. Hello. I listen to a lot of different resellers on eBay while I'm cooking or cleaning, not while listing. You guys are too interesting and slow me way down. My question is about ASP or average sale price. You, unlike many other YouTubers I listen to, don't emphasize it as much. Is that something I have missed, or is it that you want more volume over ASP or something else entirely? So yeah, I don't really focus on average sales price at all. I do know that there are a lot of sellers out there that really hit that average sales price hard. They really strive to hit, a minimum of a $30 average sale price. And that is not as part of my sales model at all. I think a lot of that has to do with the kind of merchandise we're selling. And that's because I buy mostly liquidation or wholesale. I get multiple quantities of similar or same items. I'm usually paying less than $2 per unit, and I'm not having to go out and source merchandise. I feel like a lot of sellers that really do need to pay attention to their average sale price, they're having to spend a significant amount of time going out and sourcing, which means that they need a particular sale price in order to make buying and selling that item worth their time. For instance, if I'm selling something like a face cream or a tube of lipstick, I don't have to go out there and source it. It just shows up and I can list it and sell it as soon as possible. So it doesn't matter to me if I'm only selling it for $10 plus shipping if I paid $2 for it. I know that I'm turning a really good profit. However, if I am actually having to go out and take time to find things, and they're unique one-of-a-kind items that once it sells, I don't have another one, I have to keep creating listings, there's no multiple quantities, then I would need to strive for a much higher average sale price so that I know that my time is well compensated for because I have to be out hunting and finding these unique one-of-a-kind items all the time. So that might be a primary reason why average sale price is not really super important for me, because the merchandise just shows up at my house. I have a really low cost of goods per unit. I'm not having to spend a bunch of time going out and hunting for things, versus the sellers that need to focus on the average sale price to make sure that their time is getting compensated for. Graciela Ragosa says, Lindey, why am I constantly getting scammed on eBay? I'm a new seller. I've been scammed 4 times already. It's because you're a new seller. A lot of the times when these scammy kind of accounts are trying to pull something over on a seller. They're going to target sellers that have a low feedback and not a lot of history, because these scammy buyers are banking on the fact that you're a seller that's new and you don't know any better. That does not happen to me at all anymore, because my seller account has been so established that really scammy buyers just know not to try it with me because I'm gonna see it coming. But new sellers are definitely targets for these scammy buyers because they're hoping that you just don't know any better and you're gonna fall for something. But the longer you're on the platform, the more feedback and history you can build up. Hopefully those scammers start to leave you alone. Just new sellers always have to be on guard for sure. Annabelle Bacchiero asks, in your shipping labels, do you have your home address or PO box? My friend brought it up as a conversation about safety. This is new to me. By the way, purchased my first Ninja palette. Love the items and the customer service. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that you liked your palette. I love the palettes that Wholesale Ninjas get. I love those master case palettes and the Target bulk palettes. Love them all. I'm glad you like them too. So I do use a PO box rather than my home address, but a lot of that also has to do with the fact that I'm on social media as well. Before I was on social media, I did just use my home address because it was really convenient just to have return shipped back to my house. When I wasn't on social media, it wasn't a big concern to have my home address as the return label, because if there was a disgruntled buyer, they're likely going to be really far away. So if they get pissed at me, what are they gonna do? Hop on a plane and come knock on my door for a refund? So I would say if you have a social media presence, then definitely have a PO box in its place, or if it just makes you feel more comfortable overall to have a PO box versus your home address. But if you're not really concerned about something like that, having your home address is fine. It is definitely a lot more convenient when you're talking about having people return packages. Then you don't have to go to the post office. Cheston Coffin asks, hi, Lindey. Hello. I also live in the Midwest and had a question about sourcing here. Do you think it's possible to find good enough items from garage sales and thrift stores to make a decent part-time income, maybe $2,000 to $4,000 in sales a month? Absolutely, I do. That is what my dad does. That's what my dad has done for years. But it's really difficult to only do yard sales in the Midwest because we do have pretty harsh winters. Usually there's only 4 or 5, maybe 6 months out of the year where we have yard sales that we can go to. So you need to have something to source with during those months where it's too cold for people to have yard sales. But here in the Midwest, we have a plethora of little mom and pop thrift stores, Goodwills, DAVs, lots of opportunities for sourcing. And in the Midwest, we don't have to worry about dealing with as high of prices as someone would on the West or the East Coast. I've been to some thrifts on the West Coast. That stuff is not cheap. It's like double or triple the price of the same exact items here in the Midwest. So yes, it is most definitely possible. You just need to be diligent about what you're sourcing and make sure to check comps before you buy. Matt Killian asks, hey Lindey. Hey Matt, love your videos. Thank you so much. What do you do when you get what seems to be a child calling you names and cursing at you in the messages, and the username has never bought anything from you? Just curious, I had them blocked anyway. Yeah, definitely block them. Just ignore them. If it starts to become incessant, then maybe contact eBay to see if there's something that they can do to stop them from messaging you. Because what the blocking does is the blocking keeps them from ever buying anything from you, but unfortunately, I don't think it can stop messages. Because there was an instance where I had a really, really difficult buyer. They had already purchased something from me and I had blocked them, but after I blocked them, they were still able to message me. So I think once someone has purchased something from you, they can just continue to message you regardless of whether or not they're blocked. So I don't know if maybe because they haven't ever bought anything from you that blocking them will stop the messages, or if the whole blocking thing that eBay does is just to keep them from purchasing. So if it starts to become annoying, maybe call eBay and see if they can shut down the account or penalize the account somehow to try to deter them from sending you nasty grams. But just ignore and delete. I have had people get a little bit mean and nasty over eBay messages. Just block them. Delete, ignore, never engage. Never ever engage with trolls on any platform. Okay, I'm gonna try hard not to mess up your name. Amanda Statkiewicz? Amanda. We're just gonna call you Amanda, girl. Hello, Lindey. Hi, Amanda. I'm so sorry for butchering your last name. I was curious about Porch Pickup. How do you know if they leave the money and don't just take off with the product, or someone else comes and takes it before the person picks it up? I would be so nervous that I would get scammed this way. So doing Porch Pickups on Facebook Marketplace is definitely a risk. That's why whenever I do Porch Pickups on Facebook Marketplace, I do like to have them pay via Facebook Pay first if it's something that's over $20. If it's something $20 or less and they want to pay in cash, I will go ahead and take the risk. I just tell them to leave the cash inside the bin or under a mat. But if it's over $20, if they want to do a Porch Pickup, or if I want them to do a Porch Pickup, I will have them do Facebook Pay. That way the money part is already taken care of. I also don't put items on the porch unless they tell me they're on the way. It's not like I just tell them, I'll leave it out there all afternoon and you just come and pick it up at your convenience. No, I don't want to do that because, like you said, I don't want another pickup to get mixed up and have someone else pick up their package. I don't want that to happen, so I have them message me when they are on the way, give me a 10 to 20 minute window, and then I'll put the package out on the porch. Fortunately, I've never had anyone just take the item and not pay me. I try to always have the best of intentions with people and give people the benefit of the doubt. And if someone does take the item and not pay me, at least it's under $20, and I just try to tell myself, they obviously needed the item more than I needed the $20. And then I would report them to Facebook. Diane I asks, how long did it take you to get to the point of needing help with listing, organizing inventory, etc.? Also, is it acceptable on eBay, and have you done it to sell makeup such as mascara or lip gloss that are in brand new and unused but are uncarded and not sealed? I have a bunch like that and I was hoping to sell, but I haven't listed because they're not sealed, so I'm wondering. Thanks. So Diane, how long did it take? When I got to the point where I just felt like I really needed the help. There's not really a specific timeline or dollar amount that I can give you to say this is the magic time where you get the help that you need with listing or organizing your eBay store. For me, it was a matter of, do I have a little bit of money that I can spare to pay someone to help me? Because I'm starting to lose my mind if I don't get someone to help. It really did start with just an as needed basis. For instance, I knew that my sister-in-law Angie was really, really good with organizing. So I just paid her a couple $100 to help me overhaul my entire basement and get everything really organized. And then I paid her a little bit here and there to kind of help me do a little things to get me caught up. And then it got to the point where I did have enough of a buffer in my account to where I could afford to pay her a little bit for regular help listing. So if you're thinking that you might be ready to have help, I wouldn't obligate yourself to having a regular helper. Maybe just commission someone to help you a little bit here and there and see if they can maybe help get you caught up, see how it feels. And then if you start having some regular disposable income, then you can get someone to regularly help you out since you know that you have the money to pay them. And then the second part of the question, can you sell items that are uncarded and not sealed? Yes, you can. Just make sure to indicate in the listing that it's not sealed. I sell things like mascara and lipstick that's not sealed all the time. I just make sure to put it in the listing so that the buyer's not surprised when it arrives. Cynthia S asks, hi, love your bubbly enthusiasm and your channel. Thank you so much, Cynthia. I've learned so much. There's been a lot of discussion regarding people that have accepted an offer and didn't pay and tied up a listing. My question is, if you receive an offer and you submit a counter offer, is your listing closed to the public while the potential buyer has time to accept or decline your offer? Thank you. Cynthia, this is a really, really good question. I don't think I've ever had this question asked before, but I do think it's a question that people might not consider. When there is discussion of whether or not a buyer is going to buy your item, is it still available for sale? Or if there's negotiation over price, is it basically taken off the market during that time? I am happy to report that your listing is not tied up unless there has been an offer accepted. When there's an offer accepted, that's when it's off the table. That's when it cannot be purchased by anybody else. But if you are in negotiations with a buyer and you've sent an offer, they've countered, they have 48 hours to decide, your listing is still available for sale and anybody else can just swoop in and buy it. Now, the one thing I don't really like is how that situation is handled with the buyer that's contemplating whether or not to accept an offer. And that's because if someone else swoops in and buys it, eBay sends a message to the negotiating buyer that the offer was declined. I've had a couple of situations where a buyer has messaged me a little bit irritated that they didn't have enough time to consider the item before I declined it. And I have to explain to them, I'm sorry, someone else came and bought it. I didn't decline your offer. Someone else just purchased it. Because it does seem a little bit mean. It is a little bit like, sure, how about a $15 counter offer? You have 48 hours to decide. And then 2 hours later, eBay says, seller has declined your offer. If I was a buyer, I'd be a little pissed too. Because it's that whole idea of, wait a minute, you just counter offered me, you told me I had 48 hours to decide, and now 2 hours later you declined. What the heck, man? So I really wish that eBay would instead send a message to this potential negotiating buyer that the item is no longer available versus the seller declined your offer. But yes, it is still eligible to be purchased by anybody, and I have found that that happens a lot. If there starts to be some offer activity on a listing, someone a lot of the times will just swoop in and pay full price. That's why I say any activity is good activity, especially if it's something having to do with offers. Martha A asks, hey Lindey, how long do you save the postage scan receipts from the post office? I don't. I don't save them at all, and that's because as soon as the tracking numbers are scanned within the United States Postal Service system, all you have to do is click on the tracking number in your eBay orders and all of the information is there. I really don't save any receipts because everything is electronic now. As soon as it's scanned in, you can access it on the computer, so really there's no point in saving the receipts at all. Just clutter paper, you don't need it. Letitia Blake asks, hi Lindey. Hi Letitia. Hopefully I said your name right. Do we have to do anything special to sell over-the-counter medications on eBay? I wasn't sure if anyone could sell that type of stuff or not. Yeah, anybody can sell over the counter. That's another reason why I say eBay is my favorite platform for selling things like HBA, because there's no restriction. You don't need any sort of special permit. You don't need any sort of permission from eBay to sell that kind of merchandise. Whereas if you're looking at other online selling platforms, there might be certain kind of items that you just can't list. Or on a site like Amazon, you're completely gated and restricted in all those kind of items unless you meet certain criteria, you have a long sales history, or you have distributor invoices. On eBay, you could sell anything you want. You just have to make sure that you're storing them properly, needs to be climate controlled, and eBay will ask you to do that when you list the item. Usually with those kind of items, before you list it, there's a checklist that eBay will pop up to say, make sure you're storing it in a climate controlled area, make sure that the item with the expiration date arrives to the buyer before it expires. Basically an outline of all of the rules and policies regarding selling over-the-counter medications. Valerie Lettery asks, hi Lindey. Hi Valerie. Do you think having an eBay store is far more powerful and gets you many more sales than just listing items without? Just starting out, however, would like to know whatever I can to increase sales. So do I think you need an eBay store? Is having an eBay store more powerful than just an individual seller? Yes and no. This is why. I'm thinking about my dad. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you might have heard me mention my dad. I did learn eBay from my dad. My dad is still an eBay seller, but my dad has never, ever, ever had an eBay store. Keep looking at him every time I'm over at his house like he's crazy because he has hundreds of items listed and he doesn't have an eBay store. I don't understand why he won't just subscribe to an eBay store, but he does just fine without an eBay store. However, where I do think that a seller has more power on the eBay platform by having a store is all of the features that you have access to by subscribing to a store. For instance, I think the biggest feature is being able to run markdown sales. I notice a significant difference in the number of sales that I have when I'm running a sale versus when I'm not running a sale. If my sales slow down and I start noticing that I'm not selling as much, usually it's because I forgot to start another markdown sale in my eBay store. And then the minute I start up another markdown campaign, the sales start coming back. I also like the ability to categorize your merchandise within an eBay store versus if you're just an individual seller. If someone wants to go check out the other items that you have listed for sale, they have to scroll through every single item that you have, versus if you have an eBay store, you can categorize things to make it a lot easier of a shopping process for your buyer. So if you're selling things like cosmetics and your potential buyer wants to know what other kind of mascaras or lipsticks you have, they can sort based on what they want to see to increase their cart size, versus going to your eBay seller account and just seeing 400 items and they don't want to have to sit there and scroll through. They just want to know what kind of mascara or lipsticks you have. And then they end up not shopping and buying anything else because they don't want to have to do all that scrolling. I do think that if you are going to be a serious seller and you have more than 100 items listed, I do think that having an eBay store subscription is a good idea. Brennan Ronco asks, why is final fees on eBay include shipping fees? Or do I have completely wrong? So when you sell an item on eBay, you have to pay a final value fee on the entire purchase price, including the cost of shipping. And this is because years ago, sellers were taking advantage of the fact that you were only having to pay final value fees on the purchase price and not the charged shipping. So years ago, what was happening was sellers were selling things for 99 cents and then $20 shipping. So they were only having to pay 10% off 99 cents. So they were only paying eBay 10 cents and pocketing all of the overage for the shipping label. So eBay wised up to that really quick and said, hey, guess what? You're paying us a final value fee on the entire purchase price, shipping included. But this doesn't necessarily mean that you as the seller are having to pay a little bit too much, because if you're charging shipping to the buyer, as long as the shipping label is calculated, eBay is actually charging the buyer the retail price of the shipping label when you as the seller are paying the commercial price, which means that you're getting a little bit of overage for the shipping label cost that can help pay for those fees. So if you're charging shipping to your buyer and you're doing it calculated based on the buyer's location, as a seller, you should still be coming out ahead. Scarlett Perez asks, hi Lindey, hi Scarlett, love your channel, thank you so much. What do you think about deleting listings and relisting? I actually have an entire video talking all about this. When is it time to end a listing and relist as sell similar? I go into a lot of detail about my entire mindset when it comes to this. So I will make sure to link that video down in the video description. But I do think it's a really good idea because I think that there reaches this level with your listing where it gets a little bit stale and the listings tend to get buried on eBay. So I think that if you have a listing that has no sales history, no real offer history on it, I do think that there comes a time in maybe the 3 to 6 month mark where it is a good idea to go ahead and end your listing and relist it from scratch. But definitely check out that video that I'll link because I go into a whole lot of detail about that. All right, it's about that time. Are you ready to find out who our 25th winner is? Drum roll, please. The winner, chosen by random comment selection, is Jasmine Palumba. Congratulations, Jasmine. I have already replied to your comment. Just get with me and I will make sure that you get your free lot from Wholesale Ninjas. Jasmine asks, do you have listings with variants or do you create multiple listings if you have the same product but in a different size or color? I'm always worried that a customer might buy the wrong thing in a variant listing and it would result in a return. So I always do separate listings, not just to make sure that the buyer buys the item that they actually want, but also so I know that I am pulling and shipping the correct item after it sells. I'll also do this with expiration dates. If I have the exact same item with different expiration dates, I will create separate listings because I don't want to run the risk of not selling an item before it expires, and I want to make sure that the buyer is getting exactly what they saw online. So if I have the exact same brand of lipstick and different shades, I will create a separate listing for each shade. It's also a lot easier to do that now ever since eBay increased the number of insertions that sellers get with their store levels. So I have a premium store subscription. I used to only get 1,000 insertions for free, and then I had to pay insertions after that. But now I get 10,000 free insertions, which means I can make as many different variable listings as I need to. So if I have groups of items that are the same, but maybe a little bit different, maybe I have 2 identical items and the packaging is different, I will create separate listings. That way the buyer gets exactly what they see and exactly what they ordered. Because returns are not fun for anybody, I want to minimize that as much as possible. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. The next episode of Frequently Asked Fridays will be posted on Friday, August the 27th. So don't forget to go down into the comment section and ask your question to be featured on the next episode. Remember to put the 5 question marks that indicate entry into the giveaway. Don't forget to leave this video a thumbs up before you leave and subscribe if you haven't already. I will leave a playlist of all of the other Frequently Asked Friday episodes down in the video description as well. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I will see you with my next video. Bye-bye.